So wait, you're telling me there's a zombie movie that is based on a comic book that's turned into a movie by the people who made Turbo Kid? What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a new movie coming to SCREAMBOX tomorrow called We Are Zombies. I haven't read the comic book, but it definitely surrounds these three characters that are in the movie. Moving forward, I didn't know what to expect from this movie. I saw the trailer, and I was like, okay, that kind of looks like fun. So I checked it out, and yeah, it's actually pretty good. So what is it all about? Well, it's essentially about an alternate universe where the world been taken over by a zombie apocalypse, and the zombies have settled down into the living-impaired, non-cannibalistic zombies. And zombies have integrated into our society in all facets of life, including jobs, everything. These living impaired are also kind of being treated poorly, kind of like you would an old folk. You know, when you don't want to deal with them, you send them off. There's even a global corporation that has sprouted up to save the living impaired. These three slackers are pretending to be workers for the living impaired, picking up zombies and making money off of them. When one of the jobs goes bad, well, their grandmother gets kidnapped and they get extorted and wrapped up into a much larger, much more devious plot that they're not even a part of. Sound confusing? It is a little. There's a lot going on in this movie, but it is a lot of fun. And one thing you're gonna know right up front is, my God, do the zombies look amazing in this movie. That was one of the first things I noticed right away. And the music, which the music's done by Les Matos, which did the music for Turbo Kid, only this has a little darker spin on it, but a little quirkier sound to it. Retro sort of synthwave, but like a darker side of it that's a little quirky. And it really adds to the feel of this movie. It really gives it kind of that bounce and a pacing that is really good. And that's something else that's really good about this film. It really has a fairly decent pace. There are a couple of hiccups throughout the movie that really kind of bumble along. But for the most part, I'd say that the three characters, there's a sister, a brother, and his best friend, basically bumble around to try to figure out how they can make money to save their grandma. The trailer, I'm just going to warn you, is really revealing. You don't need to watch it. I'll show you bits of it because it is extremely spoilerific from start to finish, the entire movie. And yeah, this is an experience movie, but ultimately it's nice to have a couple of surprises. And the trailer just completely fucking ruins a lot of them. There is some gore in this movie and some really ingenious ways that they do the work of zombies, like what they do with them. There's like a person in this movie that's using them for art. Zombies that are doing streaming, like OnlyFans. Every aspect of the world that you could fill with, like, what would it be like if a zombie did, they fill it. And they do a really good job. The world building, the set design, the zombies themselves, all fantastic. Like the whole thing just seems so well thought out. Like every single commercial, every single app and device is like thoroughly made for this like alternative world. Now, is the humor all that? Well, there is some moments of really dry humor, and that may hit or miss with a lot of different people. It's also kind of silly humor too, so that may fall deaf for some people. I did laugh quite a few times, but I wasn't overly laughing to the point where I was just like cracking up. It's weird because, you know, comedies, it's like you want to have some funny stuff in there, but sometimes they try to fit so many jokes in or so many different perspectives of reality that you could fill a zombie in that it almost becomes a little overwhelming. So you may have to watch it like a second time to really gain a lot from it, because there is just so much to pay attention to in this movie because they did such a fantastic job of creating this world. Some of the characters in the movie, I wouldn't say I was necessarily really drawn to them, but they are interesting enough. They do have some sort of tropic behavior, and maybe that was part of the comic. You know, the comic book might have very similar tropes in it. Obviously, it's going to have a different tone altogether, but I think from the look of the comic, it seems like they got the tone down in the movie. The end was kind of typical, but also kind of fun in a way because they do have a surprise a little bit in the movie. There's a couple surprises in the movie that you won't see coming, maybe. A lot of different characters you may like or dislike. They're really just putting a lot of really absurd characters in a lot of really absurd situations. But I found it really enjoyable, and I really liked the effort that they put into creating this world. As far as money goes, this is definitely one of their most expensive films that they've made to date, and you can see it because the quality of everything that they do in this movie is pretty top notch. Now, the writing is a little silly, and I'm sure they collaborated with the comic book, so they probably wanted to keep it as original to the original as it was. I don't know for sure, but I enjoyed the story for the most part. It didn't blow me away. I'm somewhere at about a 7.5 out of 10. It could go up. You're like thrown into this world and it's like, oh, I want to see that. I want to see this. And it's really cool how they do it. You even had some returning stars, like the girl who played the robot in Turbo Kid. She returns as a character in this movie, and she has a pretty big role in this movie. It feels very familiar to Turbo Kid, and there was some moments in the film that feel kind of borrowed from other movies. That's why I say tropey a little bit, but I think you'll be pleased with how different these zombies are, because this is like a movie that's like Fido. Remember when the zombies got collars around their neck and it like took place in the 1950s or something? It's like that, only in modern times. And it also kind of reminds me of Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. So it's like those two movies, which, you know, one had really dry humor and one had like really like childish humor. It's kind of like the best of those two worlds put into one movie. So if you enjoyed both of them, odds are you'll probably like them. If you enjoyed one of them, odds are you're someone be like me, where I did like Fido, but I didn't think it was like hilarious. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think you will too. 7.5 out of 10 is a pretty damn good score in my opinion. Obviously, the like set design and the creature work is like practically a 10 out of 10. The gore is in this movie. It isn't like overabundant. You're really kind of bumbling around with these guys, and it's kind of done in a very comic book way. So, you know, like there isn't always blood and gore and everything. It just feels like this really well-crafted world. But I'm thankful I got a copy to screen. Thank you so much for allowing me to check out this movie early. It'll be out tomorrow or late tonight if you want to check it out. So the 13th of August is when it's supposed to air, but sometimes they do it at night, so I'm just giving you a heads up. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is this a movie that you would be interested in? Do you like silly comedies like this, or do you like it serious? Part of me wonders if they could do a serious film with the zombie work that they did in this movie. So that might be something that they might need to approach in the future, because the work they did on this, man, I would hire them if I were making a zombie movie. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Hit the like and the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and the little bell notification to let you know when I got a new video up. We got more new movies on the way. Keep an eye out. This is what I do. I try to find the most movies I can find for you guys to kind of pick through and wade through. If you're watching this video and you haven't watched some of my other videos, don't miss out. There's so many movies that I've been seeing lately at all these festivals, and they got another festival coming up, so you're gonna want to keep an eye out for movies to write down to watch later on. But yeah, let me know what you think, and thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.